Hello friends, welcome back to part 2 of the REST API codebase overview. We will now continue exploring the rest of the API codebase from the WordPress code. Now in the REST API loaded function, here you can see loads the REST API. This function will load and perform all the necessary tasks such as checking if the query where for the REST route is set or not, and it will set it if it's not. Now if you check this function, you will see where it's being called. So in the wp include slash default filters.php file, an action has been added to the past request action and the callback is the REST API loaded. We have seen that the past request method is executed and the action is executed in the wp class. The wp class will then pass the request and set the query vars and everything. If you add a debug statement here, remember, it's not considered a best practice, and this is just for a demo. We can make changes in the WordPress code files for better understanding, but we should not do this on production or staging sites. It can help to show how the query vars are set under the hood. Now, after adding this, let me refresh the page. On the WP-JSON route, you can see the WP class object is displayed. And you can see all the details. And you can see all the details when querying this URL, such as what is requested, which rewrite rule is matched, and whether the query is set or not. Now, if we go to a route like wp-json slash wp slash v2 slash posts, it will match the second route, as you can see on the screen. This REST route is used to identify which REST API request needs to be executed from the different registered routes. So in this way, the initial execution of the REST API starts or executes the main REST function. So in this way, the initial execution of the REST API starts or executes the main REST API functions. It will check the WP query to see if the REST route is set or not. If it's empty, it will identify that this is not a REST request or REST route and will simply return, continuing the WordPress execution flow. We will go through this in more detail later, as it may take some time. We will definitely cover it because we will learn about various other controllers, how they manage these different endpoints, the permission callbacks, and more. There are multiple other functions you can explore as well. Now, this is the REST-get URL prefix function. Here, you can change the base URL for the REST API request. This function has been used when we add rewrite rules. For example, WordPress provides a filter to change this, and you can use your own initial REST base, such as custom JSON or anything else. However, to add better compatibility with third-party plugins, we should not change this, as it is a default base that can be used by other plugin authors to add or remove the REST API. You can also get the REST URL. Instead of constructing the entire route manually or statically in the code base, we can use this function, which is very helpful. So there are multiple functions. This is the REST URL. But behind the scenes, it will always use a get REST URL function. Then there is REST do request. You can make a REST API request within the code base, not just from the front end, JavaScript or other tools. Here we have to pass a WP REST request class object. And when initializing this class object, we need to pass the route like WP slash V2 slash post or WP slash V2 slash movies or whatever the custom post type routes are. We will see how it works in the upcoming videos. This REST get server function would return the REST server request, which handles the REST API, and WordPress also has a filter. And WordPress also has a filter that can be used to pass a custom server class. There are other functions as well, such as REST ensure request, which checks if the current object is a WP request class object or not. The REST ensure response function can be used before sending the response so that it always sends a response related to the REST response class. It is generally a good practice to wrap the output with this function. This adds some extra information such as headers, which can be useful. There are a lot more functions available, which you can explore in the code base. All this can be found in the REST API related code files inside the WP includes folder and the REST API folder. Here you can see all these request, response, and server classes, along with the default controllers and the default endpoints registered by WordPress. All these classes and all the information can be found in the endpoints folder. There are some fields for search purposes, like for searching within the search API request. So all this REST API related content can be found in the REST API folder and the REST API.php file. You can find all the functions. So yes, it's all about the REST API codebase in WordPress. We have seen all the different functions and routes that WordPress provides and the functions used. We have also seen the different filters that can be used to leverage the REST API from the plugin. By going through the WordPress code base, we now know about the various functions, filters, actions, and everything related to how a REST API request is executed. For instance, when a user makes a REST API request call, we have explored which URLs are used to match that request, how the query is set, and which functions are hooked to the past request action. So yeah, go through this REST API codebase in the WordPress code and you will gain more information. After watching this video, review all these files, functions, and classes to develop a better understanding and uncover more details. In the next video, we will go through how the REST API request works, how the server is included, and the proper execution workflow for the REST request. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one. Jai WordPress!